Welcome back to Power Profiles. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, awesome. Today we're going to focus on Kamala Harris and really dig into her story using excerpts from basically a biography about her.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, talk about breaking barriers. First female VP. It's a story that I think kind of shows just how far we've come, you know.
Yeah, her life, it's almost a reflection of all the big social and political shifts in America. You can kind of see the whole fight for justice and equality woven through her experiences.
It's true. Like, she was born in Oakland back in '64, and her parents were immigrants from India and Jamaica. And right away you see how education and activism, even social justice, like those values were just a huge part of how she was raised. Makes you think, right? Like, how much did that shape her?
Oh, absolutely. Those values, they definitely laid the groundwork for her drive. You know, it wasn't like she just stumbled onto this path. It was almost like it was meant to be.
Right. And then you think about the challenges she faced. Growing up as a person of color, first in Berkeley, then Montreal, facing discrimination. That must have had a huge impact.
Yeah. I mean, it probably gave her this firsthand look at all the systemic barriers that marginalized communities face. And you see that thread throughout her career, that commitment to advocating for the people who are often overlooked.
Exactly. And it makes her time at Howard University even more interesting, right?
Yeah.
A historically black university. You can just, you can feel that sense of purpose and pride she gained from that.
Oh, yeah. Howard's influence goes way beyond just, academics. It's been this incredible breeding ground for Black thought leaders and change makers. Being immersed in that community must have been incredibly empowering.
Absolutely. And it makes you think, right, about how the places we're in, whether it's a university or work or even just our neighborhood.
Yeah.
They really shape who we become.
100%. So let's talk about her career now, starting as a prosecutor. In the Alameda County DA's office, that's pretty telling. She earned this reputation as a fierce advocate for justice, taking on tough cases, you name it, sexual exploitation, drug trafficking, violent crimes.
Wow. But there's a twist, right? It wasn't just about winning. She started to see the cracks in the system itself. There got to be a turning point.
Definitely. She wasn't satisfied with just putting people behind bars. She wanted to understand the why, the root causes of crime, and how to prevent it.
Wow, that's huge. Which brings us to her election as San Francisco's DA in 2004. The first woman, the first Black person, and the first South Asian person to hold that office. Incredible.
It really is. And she kept going. Created back on track to break the cycle of recidivism, offering job training and support services instead of just punishment. It was a bold move to change the system from within.
Yeah, I can imagine. That kind of innovation doesn't always come easy. Was there pushback?
Oh, definitely. Real change is messy. There's always resistance.
So how did she navigate that? I mean, balancing her ideals with the realities of the system.
Well, it was a tightrope walk, for sure. But she's got courage, and she kept pushing forward.
Yeah. And then, in 2010, she became California's Attorney General. Again, the first woman and person of color in that role.
It's like every step of the way, breaking down barriers.
And her work there was amazing. Mortgage fraud, environmental justice, consumer rights, all about using the law to protect everyday people.
Absolutely. She wasn't afraid to go up against powerful interests.
Wow. That's dedication.
Yeah. A real fighter for the underdog.
Totally. It's like a thread running through her whole career.
Exactly. And then, in 2016, she stepped onto the national stage as the second Black woman elected to the U.S. Senate.
Yeah. And she didn't just, fade into the background or anything. Her questioning in those hearings, her advocacy for immigration reform, health care, she was ready to shake things up.
Oh, yeah. She became a real leader in the Democratic Party, pushing for, a more just society. It's like her story shows us that progress isn't always about these big sweeping changes. Sometimes it's about consistently showing up, asking tough questions, and pushing for change, even when it's small.
Yeah. Okay, but let's talk about 2020, when she became the first female, Black, and South Asian vice president. That's not breaking barriers. That's demolishing them.
Absolutely. It was huge for representation, for inclusivity and leadership. It resonated with so many people, especially, those who've been excluded from power.
It's like that saying, see it to believe it. Seeing someone who looks like you with similar experiences, reaching that level is power.
Sure, it challenges the whole idea of what a leader should look like, and it opens up possibilities for everyone.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, so let's dive into what she's actually doing as VP. Voting rights, economic recovery, climate change, criminal justice reform.
Yeah.
She's tackling some huge issues.
Right, and it's all connected to the values she's had throughout her career. It's like everything's led to this.
Makes sense. And you can tell it's not just talking points for her. These issues are personal.
Definitely. She brings a real understanding.
Take climate change. It's not just environmental. It's about economic justice, social justice, global security.
You can't separate them.
And, being the first at anything comes with so much pressure.
Yeah.
Every move she makes is analyzed, debated, criticized. How does she handle that?
I mean, there's this weight of expectation when you break barriers like that. She's carrying so much.
Yeah.
But she keeps pushing forward, fighting for what she believes in.
And she's resilient, dedicated to a better future. It's inspiring.
Her story resonates with people, her personal story, her achievements, and her dedication to justice. It all makes her a compelling figure.
And it makes you think about, younger generations, especially, young women and people of color. To see someone who looks like them in such a powerful position, that's got to be inspiring.
Oh, it's huge. Representation matters so much. It breaks down those barriers, the ones that tell you, people like you don't do things like that. Kamala Harris shows us those limits are just illusions.
It's like she's saying, dream bigger, aim higher. You can shatter those ceilings, too. And it makes me think about mentorship, role models. I mean, we've talked about her impact, but who inspired her? Who were her mentors?
That's a great question. And honestly, it's not something we always see highlighted in the biographies and stuff.
Right.
But it does raise a good point. We all have a part to play in creating opportunities, lifting each other up, paving the way for others.
That's true.
Whether it's formal mentorship or just living your life with purpose, we're all shaping the world.
Yeah, we're all connected. Our actions have ripple effects.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive on Kamala Harris, I think it's safe to say her story's still being written.
Totally.
Who knows what's next?
Right. But she's definitely a force to be reckoned with, someone who challenges the status quo. And her story is more than just a biography. It's about perseverance, representation, and believing that a better future is possible.
I love that. It's a reminder that change is possible, even if it's slow, even if it's hard. We all have the power to make a difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. So to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the incredible life of Kamala Harris. Hope you found it informative and inspiring. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. My name is Grease.